Things are going terribly in Britain, still. Even after all of this time where everyone knows what the problems are, things are still bad. Really bad. And the Rachel Reeves budget is coming up, the second one, and it's going to be brutal, and everyone knows it's going to be brutal. And it doesn't look like there's any light on the horizon. And so it is not surprising to learn that actually way more people are fleeing this country than previously thought. Apparently 257,000 British nationals, as in people born and raised in Britain, left last year to the year ending December 2024, which is 3 times the previous estimate. It's usually estimated that around 80,000 people a year, British nationals, emigrate elsewhere, and then you have hundreds of thousands of students and dependents and guest workers, whatever we want to call them, going home as well. So when they let in over a million people, it turns out the net is something like 700,000, something like that. But actually, it's worse than we think, because if you think about what's happening there, okay, they let in a million foreigners, mostly low-skilled or dependents or students, and we lose 250,000 talented, educated young people who don't see a future in this country because of the unbelievable conditions and the unbelievably ridiculous choices made by our governments, then what we're looking at is a slow and steady ethnic replacement, and the decline of Britain becomes inevitable as we literally replace a first world population with a third world population. And it will be to no one's surprise that these people just replicate their home conditions here. There is no magic soil. And this is just mad, because it makes the immigration statistics way worse. Like, they're like, well, hang on a second. With this new thing, this new drop, it's now just under 400k was the net migration for 2024. It's like, okay, that's still enormous. That's still way more than anything under Tony Blair. I think under Tony Blair, the highest was 300k net, but that wasn't an outflow of 250,000 Brits, 250,000 Brits in a year. But that, combined with this, like, the inflow is still going to be somewhere around 1 million a year. It's just that about 500,000 or 400,000 foreigners leave, and now we know that 250,000 Brits are leaving. So yeah, okay, it's only about 300,000 net, but that means 1 million foreigners came here. And just loads of our people decided, you know what, I can do better in Australia or in America or in Dubai or wherever. Better to try that than this. Because I know that if I work hard and I'm successful and I make, 80, 90, 100k a year, which is a nice wage, but it's not that much. Like, it's genuinely not that much. You're going to get like a 600k house, which, don't get me wrong, is a nice house. But it's not a mansion. It should be a middle-class house, a fairly normal middle-class house. But Britain is a poor country, and so this is like the upper-end house that very few people can afford. Because we genuinely are in a position now where the attitude of the government and the activist class is pure hatred and resentment against anyone who has done well, anyone who's worked hard and been successful, built something out of nothing, and is entitled to the fruits of their own labour. Resentment against those people. And so this equalitarian principle that is the ruling principle of our country, bar none, determines that the government has to start taxing the shit out of everyone. Like, I hate to think how much tax I'm gonna pay next year. I'm not even that high an earner, and I know my taxes are gonna be fucking brutal. And yet it's coming. Like a train coming down the train track. You can see it coming, and you know it's gonna hit you, and you just think half the year basically, at least somewhere between about 1/3 and 40% of the year, you're basically working for the government. You're working for the government because you're a fucking slave. That's how this feels, and that's what this is causing. People are fleeing the country because they're not stupid. They know that there are countries where actually 40-45% of your earnings are not taxed by the government. Like, literally, we covered it on the podcast the other day. The government spends 45% of all of the money that's earned in this country. The government spends it. We are getting fucked by the government on a daily basis. And 250,000 people a year are like, you know what? I don't fancy getting fucked by the government every day. I'm actually not up for that. And this is becoming a massive fucking problem, because this is not the parasite class who are leaving. It is not the 53% who are on benefits or get more from the government than they pay in tax that are leaving. Because why would they? They're the ones who are making out like bandits out of the situation. They're the ones who are becoming dependents on those people who are working hard and actually succeeding. And so this is dangerous brain drain, and these people are just leaving. They're just leaving. Like Shabana Mahmood's crackdown on asylum seekers is mostly, I think, about money. I think it's mostly about how can we save money in the system, because they can't just bring themselves to make benefit cuts, because that's what's going to happen, right? It is going to have to be that we stop giving people so much benefits. That's just where it has to be. It can't be that we give Motability cars, like fancy cars, to people with autism or nervous dispositions, whatever they were doing. That has to stop. It can't be that 53% of the country are taking more from the government than they put in. Like, sorry, I've got anxiety. Too bad. That's too fucking bad, man. You're not entitled to anything from the government. That's not a disability just because you have anxiety. You're just going to have to get over it. I'm afraid that's just, like all of these petty things that were like, well, that guy's got, mild autism or ADHD or whatever. So I'm sorry that's the case, but you still got to get on with your lives. Like, this is just, we can't just have a nation of government dependents that has chased off all the people you're expecting to pay for the welfare state. I'm so sick of the welfare state, man. I'm so sick of how much money we have to spend. And anyway, somewhere in here, it points out that hey, there we go. The British Medical Association was very concerned about the UK's ability to keep doctors in the country. Apparently 4,000 doctors left the UK, so they're born and raised and trained in the UK, and they just leave to go elsewhere. Because actually being a British doctor is a useful thing. It means that the standards you were trained to were high. You are not a Nigerian doctor, or an Ugandan doctor. You are not from a country that's intrinsically corrupt, that will just allow people to just bullshit their way through their degrees. Like, we have standards, we hold to them. And so, yeah, you're going to get paid well overseas. And of course, we've learned that 16,000 millionaires are leaving or have left because of the tax changes, because people are like, look, man, I actually think I deserve the things I earned. I worked really hard to get what I have, and I deserve to keep some of it. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have some sort of protections against predatory billionaire capitalism, blah, blah, blah. Gary Stevenson, right? But this is not what that's about. This is about people who should be our sort of upper middle class and who should be very, very comfortable in this country with the amount they've worked, with the amount they've earned, the amount they've saved, and the property they should be able to buy, are fucking fleeing this country like rats fleeing a ship that is sinking. That's what's happening. And we are replacing the high quality, high human capital people of this country with foreign parasites, dependents, people who cost more than they bring in every case. And just as a general class of people, like people from outside of Europe and the United States and the Anglosphere, are basically not worth having as immigrants. They are costing the exchequer money every year. And we know this from Denmark and from Holland, who have done long-term studies on the amount of money that the non-European, we'll just to summarize, immigrants bring in and cost. Some East Asian countries are worth having, but mostly it is just EU and Northwest or Anglosphere people who are worth having. And outside of that, it is just a deficit to the amount of money that we make nationally. And it can't continue. It just can't continue. I mean, at this point, 1 in 4 British people are either actively planning or are seriously considering emigrating. A quarter of the young people. I mean, like, are we mad? Are we literally mad? To pay for boomer pensions, the richest cohort in the country. Are we literally mad? I think we actually might be, right? We actually might literally be mad. and are actually heaping up the funeral pyre of our own country. And this is just good for everyone else. America and Australia and Dubai, this is actually a Washington Post article. It just hasn't archived well. This is good for all of those countries. Huge numbers of talented, educated, hardworking, upwardly mobile British people are leaving. And so they're like, brilliant. These are the best kinds of immigrants. Like, these are the immigrants who are going to come here, make a business, or, do really well, work really hard, pay lots of taxes, be model citizens. And this is a win for every other country but us. Like, this is a massive L for us. And frankly, and I agree with the Telegraph here, look, this record-breaking drain brain is the death of Britain. This is true. This is absolutely true. We are replacing the high status, high intelligence, high earning population of this country with fucking chancers, grifters, foreigners who are just going to come in and suck up as much welfare as they can until the system just finally goes under. And then, you know what? These people are going to leave. Right? All those people that you replace our high-earning, well-to-do, upwardly mobile people with, they're just going to leave, man. When the welfare state no longer pays them to be here, they're going to go, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to go home. Why would I be here? I'm not getting free money from you for some reason. For some reason, you gave me free money. For some reason, the free money stopped. And now I'm just going to leave as well. So we will be left with just this desolate wasteland of a country that had been hollowed out and has very few. The prospects of recovering this are so few because the political class of this country just cannot bear to accept that actually we shouldn't be giving so many people so much money. It really just comes down to this. We just need, I'm sorry, someone just say, look, we just can't continue like this. If you are not like desperately disabled, then actually you don't deserve welfare, right? You do not deserve that. If you are not earning absolute zero, you don't deserve benefits allowance, job seekers, whatever it is. No, and if you have a problem with this, go to a charity. Start using charities. Charities can take the place of government service like this. And it's going to be the way it has to be because at the end of the day, the government is not going to make the money that they think they're going to make, which is the problem with Rachel Reeves' budget. She sat there going, right, what can I do? Basically nothing. Basically nothing. And the looming spectre of the Laffer curve must be omnipresent in 11 Downing Street at the moment, where she's just like, look, if I do this, X number of people are going to leave and I'm not going to get the money I want. And if I do anything really, and if I just even say I'm going to have to raise taxes, people will leave and I will not raise the money I expect. And so the black hole will get blacker and deeper and bigger and more insatiable. And, oh God, this can never be solved. The answer has to be cutting services. It has to be cutting what the state gives people, because we are just being taken for such a ride, man. Such a fucking ride. It's not even the foreigners. It's us. It's the to the Brits as well. Like, we have just got to give fewer things in benefits and encourage people to get jobs and work and not be just permanently out of work, sitting around doing nothing all day. It's not fair. And people are responding to this not being fair by leaving. They don't feel well treated. They know they're going to get taxed out of the fucking arse to an absurd degree. So they're just like, you know what? I don't need to do that, actually. I don't need to suffer through that. I can just leave. And so I'm going to. And it genuinely looks like the slow death of our country. Just slowly but surely falling apart. And if at some point we're just going to have to face the facts that the economic necessity of this requires that this state of affairs just ends.